again joining us for another conversation. I'm Candie, Zenon, author and life coach and CEO founder of Changing Seasons Life Coaching. And I created Changing Seasons Life Coaching to help single moms strengthen their faith, family, and finances. And just one more time, helping you love through it, learn from it, and live after it. And here today, my guest, Minister Freda Mathis. I'm so excited she's joining me.
I'm happy to be here. I really am.
This is actually take two for us because we tried this in the midst of quarantine and it didn't work out too well. So we're here live today COVID free. Sharing in fellowship and just coming to you to give a word of knowledge, a word of encouragement, and learning what Minister Freda loved through, learn from, and how did she live after it successfully. I try to give tools like conversations with those in our community and those around us to tap into that wealth of knowledge that's inside of them so that we can live life just a little bit better by learning from their experiences. And one of the tools I use are books. And my newest tool is Hope for a Rainy Day. And I have created this tool for you just to give you a word, a scripture, a word of encouragement, and remind you of those things that God has promised us. And you could get my book, Hope for a Rainy Day, on my website at candiezenon.com. Well, I went on enough. So, Minister Freda. Hi. Hello. Welcome to Conversations.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us, who is Minister Freda Mathis?
I am 48. And I have 6 kids.
Okay.
And one that I took in when he was 15.
Okay.
I call him my adopted baby. So I make 7. So I have 4 boys and 3 girls.
Wow.
So I have a big family. And 8 grandbabies.
Nice. Okay.
I've got 8 grandbabies. I am an author. I'm a licensed Baptist minister.
Nice.
I'm a certified grief coach.
Okay.
Inspirational speaker. I'm a paraprofessional. I work with kindergarten.
Okay.
I'm a lot of things.
Yeah, I hear all them hats. You wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So I know we're about to get some good information today.
So I am the founder of In His Image, Mind, Body, Spirit, and Soul Ministries. And I have several ministries under that I work with. Tacos Tuesday, Prayers Connect Call is one. I Am King, mentoring program for boys 7 to 11.
Okay.
And I also have Unspoken Sounds of Violence. And that one is probably, that's my baby.
Oh, wow.
That was the one that really put them labor pains.
Okay.
So with that one, what I tried to do, and the other people that work in that ministry with me, we reach out to the community, in not just our community, but in different communities in Georgia, where we try to get people to talk about what happens after a violent attack or after a violent act has happened to them as a victim or to someone in their family.
Wow.
And then we try to bridge them with counselors if they need them, coaches in their area if they need them, and city commissioners and county commissioners in their area to try to change their neighborhood or make positive changes in their neighborhood to push the violence out.
What a courageous ministry. And you don't normally hear about someone taking that initiative to go out in a community and help people promote healing in that area.
It's very hard to get people to actually look at their own community and want to make a change. They talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, but when it comes to actually making a change, people are really scared. They want somebody else to do it.
And you're that somebody, the gap filler. I appreciate you sharing that, and we're going to hear more about Minister Freda in just a moment. Stay tuned for this announcement. So, all right. So, you were talking about going out into the community and promoting this being a gap filler between those who were victims of violence and those who can help heal
Yes.
those people. Do you find people who are victims of violence, they don't seek healing?
No.
They try to maybe forget about it and
they want to handle it by themselves.
okay.
Maybe they don't know that help is available to them.
Do you feel some shame or some blame or some guilt associated with,
Absolutely.
with that as well?
Absolutely. Anytime there's grief,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to automatically, they're going to, first they're going to deny it, then they're going to start blaming themselves. They're going to take on that guilt. So let's just say a mother has a son, he gets killed, like what happened to our family.
Okay.
He gets killed, but what if they had an argument before that? Or what if something was going on that, nobody knows about? She may feel guilty if it hasn't been something reconciled. But then not only does the mother, but the rest of the family, they're hurting. The community is hurting because this is an act of violence that may have happened in a very populated place where people congregate a lot. And even now with all of the violence that's going on in the world, I think people are kind of forgetting about random acts of violence. We're looking at police brutality so much now in the news that we're forgetting about what about somebody that got robbed yesterday? Or what about this person that got beat up? Maybe they didn't get robbed or they didn't get killed, but they got to live with the fact that they got beat up or hurt real bad.
And those people in the community, I find, once they hear of the news, hear of the information, what happened in their community, now they start to have some fear and paranoia and anxiety as well. So it's good to involve the community as a whole to talk about it like
That's
you
right.
do. Didn't you host a platform pulling the community together?
This year will be our third year
Okay.
doing our forum. Is it our third? This is our fourth year.
Okay.
Twice we were in Cordele, Georgia, 2 years in a row, 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Last year we were in Columbus, Georgia.
Okay.
This year we're going to be here in Marietta, Georgia, but it's going to be because we can't travel and really go anywhere and open up a facility to, large groups of people like we have in the past. We're going to do our radio show, The Unspoken Sounds of Violence, at Blog Talk Radio. And we're going to do another platform right on live, Facebook Live. But that's coming up August the 1st at 7 o'clock.
Now, how can those who want to talk about their story, get their story out, contact you?
They can just message me on Facebook.
Okay.
Or they can email me at Freda33Mathis@yahoo.com.
Okay.
And that way they can do it privately and let me know that they're interested in being a part of the show. They want to tell their story. I have a man and a woman now, and they're going to be on my show August the 1st. And I'm so excited to have them because the lady, she lived here in Cobb County, and her son was killed.
Okay.
And the young man that's going to be on my show, he was a member of our church back in Cordele.
Oh, wow.
And his brother was killed.
Oh, wow.
And these things hit hard for me because I grew up in the community in Cordele. I grew up around the violence. And this was like almost every day, every weekend. I had gotten into the habit to where I was reading the news on Monday just to see what people did over the weekend, just to see how bad the violence was. And so once God began to talk to me about the ministry, and I was like, well, Lord, it's just so much unspoken parts of violence that people don't really talk about. Like, we don't talk about what we try to get people to talk about when we talk about unspoken. We talk about financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally. What happened to you when your son was killed?
And break that down. Financially, what happens?
What happens?
What happens?
A lot of times people don't have insurance.
Oh.
They may have to reach out to the community or family members to help bury someone. And they're not prepared for that. Emotional drain that could cause someone.
Oh, I don't want to think about it.
You know, so you have physical changes in the body take place.
Yeah,
you know, people become depressed.
Yeah.
And then depression has other underlying things that goes along with it. High blood pressure.
Oh, so now it started the dis-ease in the emotions, now it started disease in the body.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then you have spiritually. Some people will turn against God because they want to know, why did he take my family member? Why did this happen? Why did God let this happen? If he's all powerful, why is he letting this happen? But we have to understand that God has a permissive will and a divine will. Just because somebody hurt your family member doesn't mean that God wanted that to happen.
And that's powerful, because I spoke of that in my book, Hope for a Rainy Day, in the chapter, God, Did You Forget My Hope? Because sometimes things hit us so hard in life. We wonder, God, do you exist? Do my prayer even matter to you? Do you even hear me calling out to you? Where were you, God, in the midst of all of this? And you said, in the midst of it, there's free will.
It's a permissive will and a divine will. So he gives us free will. So we can operate and do the things that we want to do. He allows us to do that. And then he permits things to happen. And then there's a divine way he wants things to go.
Wow.
So we can't forget that God is always around. But in a time like that, let's just say you have let's just say like the little one that got killed, the 3-year-old that got killed, someone shot at his father in the car. Okay, he's 3. He's a baby.
Right.
So think about the family members, what they're going through. After that, you got a community that may not be in a setting where they can actually make a positive change yet. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe it's just too much violence.
And what would be the one thing or phrase that you would say to help people suffering with that
seek help?
Live life a little better.
Seek help.
And help entails what?
Professional help.
Okay.
A grief counselor.
Grief counselor. Okay.
A family counselor.
Family counselor.
If a grief coach is not a counselor.
Okay.
We only help coach people through their grief, but we have to, if someone is grieving so bad, we can't help them. We suggest, maybe you should seek professional help.
So a grief coach is normally in a group setting?
Or private.
Or private, okay.
Whichever is comfortable for
So normally people go to grief coaches before they go to grief counselors?
They don't have to, they can do both.
Okay.
They can do both, but we just have to make sure that they know that there is a difference.
Okay, so there's such thing as a grief counselor and a grief coach, professional help.
Yes, they have to get the family counselor.
Professional family counselor.
Now you may be able to find a person may be able to find a counselor that does all. That is a family counselor. They can counsel with the family and the children, or they may want to take the kids if they have children suffering from grief to a child psychologist.
Okay.
While the adults go to a psychiatrist. So it may be where they don't want to take the kids with them. When I went to counseling, I went to a family counselor.
Okay.
He did both.
And this is when your nephew was
This
killed?
was when I lived in Columbus, Georgia, and I was suffering with depression so bad.
You were suffering with depression.
Deep
was
depression.
This due to violence?
No,
or
it was just life.
It was just life.
Just life.
And you saw the counselor.
And I did.
What was the awakening for you to see that counselor?
For me, it was when something so subtle. It was a picture.
Okay.
And my baby girl, she had taken some pictures at school and had put the envelope on the table. Well, I walked by the envelope several weeks before I actually realized, because when you're depressed and you're walking, you tunnel vision,
Right.
You know, nothing is registering.
Right.
People are talking to you, but you're like spaced out. You don't
Mhm.
really, you know what they're talking about. You're
Right.
like, okay, well, yeah, they said something, but I'm gonna answer back. But you're not connected to anybody.
Mhm.
So I noticed the pictures just laying on the table, and I always keep my table made up, so nobody's sitting at the table eating or something, so nobody's having to clean it off.
Okay.
But the envelope is still laying there. So I finally asked them, I said, whose pictures are these?
Mhm.
And she said, they're mine. And I picked the pictures up and looked at them. I said, is that you?
Wow.
And she said, yes, ma'am. I said, are you sure?
Wow.
I didn't recognize her in the
Wow.
pictures because not only was I suffering from depression, my children were too.
What the effects,
Mhm.
the riddle effects.
They were
Yeah.
suffering too because I wasn't eating, I wasn't cooking.
Okay.
So they were not eating.
Oh wow.
So we were all
Losing weight.
basically starving. Oh yeah, I
Wow.
lost over 59 pounds
Wow.
in less than 9 months.
Oh,
But
no.
I really struggled.
Oh no.
So to come back out of that, it took a lot of willpower. Because while we're talking about unspoken signs of violence, this was leading up to me doing self-harm.
Right.
People forget about that part.
Right.
We're thinking about random acts of violence,
Mm.
but what about self-harm?
When you forget to take care of yourself.
And
check
now you're
in
thinking
with
suicide.
yourself.
You have
Yeah.
suicide ideations, and now you having to. I had to tell myself, you belong to God.
Right.
You didn't create yourself.
But hindsight is 2020. Just looking back, do you understand how did you get to that space?
I do
How?
now. Yeah. From not taking the initiative to handle little problems and letting them be.
So you push them away and pretend
Oh yeah.
that they weren't there.
Oh yeah.
Or so what was it that would make you not want to address the little problems?
I just didn't want to know the truth about myself.
Okay.
That's all. That's all. I just lied to myself.
Okay.
That didn't happen.
Oh.
You know, that wasn't me.
So if you would have faced it, would it have meant you separating from maybe a relationship, a situation that or maybe geographically you'll probably have to switch the area.
All of that.
See,
all of that. Starting over.
You
You have to start over because when you go back and you get to the root of what's going on. Now you at the root. You got to dig that thing up.
Sever it at the root.
Start over.
I think that's Bible.
Then
I think maybe that's scripture.
You have to start over.
You gotta get to that root.
Over.
Yeah, and when you identify,
scary.
and it's scary, and that's why the fear of unknown. Sometimes we ignore the initial problem, but that initial problem starts to grow. And I like to say that sometimes an infection starts to infest every area of the life. And so what initially started as just a seed, like if I would have severed that at the root, plucked it, and got it out of there, it wouldn't have been that. But I let it grow.
That's right.
And it maturate, and then it start to sprout, and then it spread in every area of the life, the emotions, the financial, the family, every area of the life. Help. So would you say that's one of the things that you had to love through? Starting with loving yourself?
I did. I had to really find why I love myself.
Okay.
What was it about me that made me want to live? And of course my children. That was the first thing, but then I realized that God has work for me. You can't really have a testimony without going through a test. So what is my test and how does God want me to use it? So once I began to recognize those things, then I was like, okay, God has a purpose for me.
He has a purpose for me. So walk me back from the picture. You see the picture. You awaken to there is a problem. And then you take what first action step you took?
I talked to my the principal at the school where I work.
And then what's the second action step you took?
She made me call. She didn't do it for me. She made me call the counselors to set the appointment.
And then the third action step?
I went.
I'm so happy you answered that so perfectly. That was not
I
playing. You have to go, because sometimes we seek out the help, but we don't take that next step to receive it.
That's right. I win.
The help is there if you're willing to receive it. The teacher will arrive when the student is ready. So you receive the help. So once you went, did you have to take your family?
I had to go first
Okay.
for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And because where the school paid for me to go,
Mm-hmm.
after I signed up and went, they paid for me to go
Okay.
for 3 weeks. She referred us to a family counselor.
Okay.
Medicaid paid.
Okay, perfect.
So they had to find a family counselor to take all of us,
Yes.
and then they bill Medicaid for
That
it.
is beautiful.
So,
the help
mhm.
is
The help
there.
is available, and
So the entire family went.
everybody went.
So everybody had a chance to discuss what was going on with them when they see Mama suffering.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Did that break you down?
Well, I couldn't be in the room with them
Oh, okay.
when they spoke, so everything was confidential.
Okay.
So I have no idea what they talked about.
Okay. But they had a chance to talk about they
Whatever they want.
their
to talk
problems.
about.
I call them little problems because they little people, but they really do feel what's going on in the house, and it affects them when Mama's not well.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And even to that point, as an adult now, I can look back and say, I remember when my mom suffered. I didn't recognize it. I didn't know what it was, but I know now.
And now you empathize with her, with however she was responding or reacting towards the family. Now you know she was going through something.
Yes.
Right. And so you had to learn what from that situation?
Mainly how to, well, the one thing I learned that I can still use to this day is, because of OCD, is I don't have to always do it right now.
Okay.
So I don't have to jump up and see all the blankets, how they're all folded. I don't have to jump up right now, fold everything, or run over there and wash the dishes right now. I can wait. And I've learned that it's okay for me to rest and wait. And
Check it with
yeah,
self. Make
it's
sure
okay.
self is priority.
That's right. He said it's okay to rest and then go back and do it. You don't have to do it right now.
Even with the Proverbs 31 woman, it says that she had proper rest before she started her day and rose up early. Because the Bible said it is vain to stay up late and rise up early.
And that's where I am right
vanity.
now. I am. When I said I can't sleep, it'd be like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, whoa, I still haven't slept. I better get up and do my 5 a.m. prayer.
Oh,
So I just stayed awake all night and then got up and prayed.
All night. But it is great for us to have proper rest and take care of ourselves. And I'm a big proponent, and I know you mentioned this too, about journaling. Write down what's on your mind. Sometimes it is just a simple act of writing down what's running around in your mind, keeping you up. I don't care if it's a grocery list. I don't care if it's making phone calls. I don't care if it's making appointments, calling people for doctor's appointments, or whatever you need to do. Sometimes just write it down on a to-do list. Write it down on your calendar, a planner, and just get it out your mind onto the paper so that you can go to sleep and have that space, that quietness. Sitting quiet, journaling, meditating, prayer. Those are all parts of self-care. And learning your self-care language. If your self-care language is listening to music, bubble baths, spa baths, walks in the park, walks in the forest, hiking, exercising, learn your self-care love language so that you can do that and make that a priority. Because folding the blankets, that's not a priority. Because guess what? The cat, the grandbaby, somebody gonna come right behind you and shake it open, put it on their lap, grab some chips, and watch TV.
Yes, and I had to allow myself to be okay with that. I had to. My kids, I was very, very adamant about them not sitting on the furniture. I did not want them to sit. That furniture was not for children.
Oh, that's something you
That was
grew
the
up
way.
with.
Yeah.
Yes.
So everybody had their throw, and then everybody had their pillows, and they all laid out on the floor. And I had my one little chair. I didn't even sit on it. I had my one little chair. I would ball up in my chair with my blanket, and we would read our books, and we would have popcorn. But nobody sat on the furniture.
And see, and I was the total opposite because of that teaching. So I got my sofa set from, I think soon as they took it off the truck and put it in the living room, I was like, hop on it. I mean, let's make it cozy.
Mm-hmm.
I bought some throws, and now we're not able to eat in there, but we able to sit down, lay down, sleep, whatever, sleep, slob, and slumber.
That's how
in
we
that
do
spot.
now. That's how we do now.
Because you have to live in it. You have to use the good towels. You
Mhm.
have to eat off the good dishes. You have to sit on the sofa, because it's no way in the world nobody's coming behind you and going to enjoy your stuff better than you, and you pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you buy the children the toys, but you say, oh, that's the good toys, leave them on top of the closet. No, because those children grow up. Tick tock, tick tock. That
Yes,
calendar
yes.
day is changing. Before you know it, they're about to graduate.
That's right.
Like my baby keep claiming that she gonna be 18. I keep telling her she gonna be sweet 16.
No, I won't.
Trying to grow up. But yeah, so before you know it, that calendar day changes, and life as you knew it is gone. Now you have to figure out, what's this new phase? What's this new chapter? The children grown,
Mhm.
married, college graduates, and it's just you and
Yeah.
all the sofas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you realize, oh, it's time to downsize now.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly where I am right now.
See.
That's exactly where I am right now, cause I've been looking and I
Mhm.
found something that I really like, but it's just it's called a chair and a half with the ottoman,
Look at that.
and that's all I want. This is going on the dump.
See?
This is going
And
out.
this conversation wasn't
Mhm.
even planned, but that's just how it happens. When you realize that, okay, you've been trying to keep something,
Hold
this
on
way.
to
Yeah,
it,
hold on to it.
it.
And before you knew it, you don't need it anymore.
And that's how grief is.
Oh,
People
okay. Talk
hold
about
on to it.
it. Talk about
They
it.
hold on to it because
Mhm.
it's comfortable.
Oh.
It's comfortable to sit there and hold on to, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. Well, it happened.
Mhm.
I can't believe it happened. But it happened.
Mhm.
And at some point in time, you're going to have to just accept, this happened, but I don't have to let it take me away. I can do something about it.
Mhm.
I can go up to that corner
Mhm.
where my son was killed, or where my cousin,
Mhm.
nephew, whoever, and I can make a change and demand that my city commissioner and my county commissioners shut this place down. Too many people have been killed on this corner. You can do something.
Look at that.
Something can
Take
be
the
done.
power.
Take it
And
back.
I say that, would you call that living after it? Living
Yes.
after it? Because I would say that after you learn what to do, then you learn from the situation. How do you live after it?
You push through.
You push
You
through.
push through. You
and that looks
use
like
what
what?
you've learned and you apply it to your everyday living.
Mm-hmm. Push through looks like maybe just waking up,
It like you and
Maybe just-
you mentioned journaling.
journaling.
Just a little bit.
Just a
each
little
day.
thing, and it probably won't be a straight marathon every day. Maybe it might be a sprint. It may just waking up and washing your face.
Putting on some makeup.
Just be
Mhm.
thankful to see another sunrise.
Just take it one day at a time, because think about it now. If a person is really grieving or going through depression, they don't want to read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
They
But
don't
they
want to
can pray.
But when I was super depressed, when I was really depressed and I was living in it,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pray.
Right.
I didn't pray because I didn't know what to pray.
Okay.
I didn't know what to pray. I didn't know how to pray.
Well, let's break that down, because sometimes we get the communication mixed up with the method. Sometimes people think prayer is, you have to have a stance. You have to be kneel down on the side of the bed. You have to be prostrate on the floor. You have to stand up with your arms up. Sometimes it's just say, God, I hurt. Sometimes you just speak in your vernacular, just like you and I are
Prayer
talking.
is communication.
Prayer is communication. It's never the method. It's never the method. Never confuse communication with the method of prayer.
It is. It's
Prayer is just simply
communication.
talking to tapping into a power that's greater than yourself. Talking to God, the creator of the heaven and earth and the universe, and say, this is my pain. This is my stuff. This is where that thing died in me.
Mm-hmm.
And take him to that dead place, because Jesus said, I am the resurrection. Take him to that dead place and allow yourself to live again. You don't have to stay in that space. And sometimes we allow grief. Grief is so subtle. It lies to us and it tells us the more I grieve is equated to the more how I love, how deep I love. And no, one doesn't go with the other. Yes, you love that person. Yes, maybe you lost that person, but you don't have to stay in that place of grief. We can now move from that one morning, that one day that person passed, to celebrating that life that they lived.
That's right.
And we can find ways to celebrate that life. Like you said, lawmakings, changing laws. You can also scholarships. A lot of people host scholarships in the name.
That's right.
Some do giveaways. Sometimes if you want to do something grand, you can just involve the family.
That is power.
Yeah.
That is power. My T-shirts, Heal Strong.
Heal Strong. Okay,
why,
tell us
why
about
we
that.
Heal Strong?
Why?
Because my nephew was killed.
Oh, okay.
Right there in Cordele, Georgia.
Okay.
On that same street corner where my brother was stabbed, not one time but twice.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And so many others have died on that same street corner.
Oh, wow.
So when my nephew was taken from us, and we're strong knit family and close knit family anyway.
Okay.
The strength of the Hill family makes us heal strong because we're bonded in unity, we're bonded in strength, we're bonded in love, and we're bonded in self-reflection, and we come together for one purpose, and that's to keep each other connected.
Okay.
My grandmother has a phrase, all you need is Jesus.
All you need is Jesus.
All you need is Jesus. And that's all we need. But people don't, if you're grieving so bad and you're hurting so bad, you may not know that you need Jesus. You may not know that.
So in the midst of someone's grief and grieving bad, tell them one thing to do. Like in the middle of that, what's the one thing they could do to just reach out for help?
Maybe they can call someone.
Okay.
Don't go through it alone. Alone, and people grieve for different reasons.
Right.
It's not necessarily death.
Oh yeah.
It's a loss.
Yeah, it could be
a loss of
a marriage. Things. It could be loss of a job. It could be loss of furniture and property.
Yes.
Like for I was sharing with you on a conference call last night about how when we had transferred from Louisiana to Georgia via hurricane, there's a lot of things we put to the road. It was a lot of things we put to the road, and it wasn't necessarily those things, but it was the emotions attached to those things. And it was like a lot of stuff that I put to the road, but it was like two things that I just couldn't let go of. Like, man, I should have grabbed that. Man, I wish I would have taken that. But it wasn't necessarily the thing, but it was the emotions attached to that.
Yes.
You know, the time you remember that you saved your money to purchase it, and the reason why you purchased it, and how your children responded when you brought it home. And, you know, all of that was attached to that thing. But then I had to resolve in myself. I enjoyed that experience. And I let go of that thing, but I still keep that experience. And I still keep that joy that I experienced when I brought those items home. But now, God, I am ready to have new experiences and experience new joy in the life that you have for me now.
And you have to allow yourself to be okay with that. And allow God to do what he's going to do. Because a lot of times people who are grieving and struggling with depression, they put up the brick wall because they don't think God is available to them.
And nobody else can understand or resonate or relate to what they're going
they don't know.
So they close themselves off.
So it's up to people who have been through it, like you said, have lived through it and have learned from it, and now we're living after it. Yes, I was going to say walking it out, but living after it. It's up to us to make our testimonies.
Yeah.
Tell someone else. Build your ministry. Write your book. Journal, and then at the end of the book that you've journaled in, you can have a book that you've written.
Tell your testimony. Tell how you overcame. Tell what you had to love through.
That's
what did you learn from it? And how did you live after it? So with all that being said, what is the one thing that you wish somebody would know to make their life easier?
The one thing that I say to myself, and I say it to all of my kids, is God's got us. God has got us.
Amen.
He's got us. We walk away from him. We turn our backs because we want to handle it on our own. We're embarrassed or ashamed or, so deep in depression that we just can't see. We have the tunnel vision. And we forget that God created us for his glory. So if you want to be free, you have to give it to him. You have to give him the hurt, pain, the misery, all of that comes with it. Give it to God and allow him to rebuild you from the inside.
Allow him to rebuild.
You have to allow him to do it.
And that is beautiful. And I just want to just go back to that one thing. If you're living in depression, as I asked Minister Freda, what's the one thing you need to do? She said, tell somebody, don't go through it alone. Sometimes it's just reaching out to who's next to you. Maybe it's just your child next to you. I remember a situation, it's kind of a lighthearted situation, but I had been walking on a treadmill, eating salads, and all month long, and I only lost 3 pounds. And I fell out, was trying to pull a treadmill out of my house with my bag.
You were upset.
I was upset. I didn't go to the trash can. And then so I asked my oldest daughter, I said, do you have a word for me? And she had to be about in the 3rd grade, something like that. I said, you have a word for me? She said, the Bible say, do not let it go of your confidence, for it'll be richly rewarded. I was like, so you never know who God will speak through. He can speak through your child. He can speak through any, he can speak through a commercial. He can speak through anything. But just acknowledge the fact that you're not feeling right inside and you want to make it better. And tell somebody next to you. And like for Minister Freda, she told the principal and at the school, which led her to a counselor, which the counselor brought in the entire family.
Absolutely.
And now she's living and walking in wholeness. And singleness, once again, does not mean alone. Single means whole, complete, nothing missing, nothing broken. And this platform is here to help you love through it, learn from it, and live after it. And this has been a good word. Where we could get some more of that good juice. What platforms people could reach you on?
The Unspoken Signs of Violence web Facebook page, Tacos Tuesday, Prayers Connect page. My personal page, Freda Mathis, on Facebook. You can reach out to me there, message me there. And also, I have here a collection. This is my book that I've written. A collection of sermons, sermonette poems, and spoken words. This is an inspirational book. And this inspirational book will help you to reconnect with God. It has sermons in there, sermonettes, poems, prayers. People may not know how to pray. Well, here's a book that has a few prayers to yourself. Write one. You can write down what you're going through and pray that on my at my store, my online store, www.centerofyourlifedevotionalsandgifts.com.
And we'll have that in the description.
You can reach out to me on that. It's on Facebook. I Am Keen Mentoring Program for Boys, and it's from boys 7 to 11. And me and a couple other ministers, we get together and we have events for the boys. We do it 4 times a year to try to give the boys encouragement. We try to teach them their responsibility to themselves, to their education, to their families, to their communities, their neighborhood, and to society, just so young boys can know what their worth is. They can know that, you come from a priesthood, you come from a kingship, and now you're growing up. You want to share that with other boys, and when you become a man, you want to share that with your nephew or your son. Yes, you want to make sure that you reach back and share what you've learned in this mentoring program with other boys. So we try to group these boys together so they can build a brotherhood with each other and reach out with each other.
And I love that. I love that you're doing that with the boys.
And that's important because look at what's happening to our future,
Yes.
our men.
And that could be a safe haven for them.
Yes.
That knowing that they could reach out to that organization and talk about what their feelings, of maybe anxiety or worry or stress
Yes,
of what they hear
they're
about
little,
what's going
but
on
they
around
know.
them. Yeah.
My grandson is 9, and he knows things are happening.
You hear the murmurs
Yes.
around. You hear the news. You hear people saying different things. So yeah, no doubt.
They're asking questions. They want to
That's
know what's
powerful.
happening.
I
They
love
want to
it.
know.
Love it.
We have a registration drive that started on the 1st.
Okay.
It'll end on the 15th.
Okay.
So from anywhere from now to the 15th, if someone wants to register their son 7 to 11, they just message me
On
at I Am King,
I Am King on Facebook.
program for mentoring program for boys
On
on Facebook.
Oh,
Yes,
perfect.
on Facebook.
Well, once
Mhm.
again, I just thank you, Minister Freda, for sharing that wealth of knowledge. And you heard it here, all of the platforms that you could reach out to her. Please reach out. If you have sons from ages 7 to 11, neighborhood children or nephews or cousins, please register them for I Am King. That's such a powerful organization and so timely, such a time as this. Well, my name is Candie Zenon, author and life coach, and I just want to thank you again for joining us for this conversation, helping you love through it, learn from it, and live after it. Until next Sunday.